So before I get started on the slot that I'm going to share with you today, I just feel that I want to share with you who I am and my background. And I'm not going to do my traditional story, what I normally do, which is like a BP type story for prospects. I'm actually going to tell you more about who I am, the real me, and what has brought me here today. I'm just a mom. I just forgot the clicker, sorry. Right, so there's nothing super special about me, and I think what I want to actually achieve more than anything today, obviously, other than sharing the main slot with you, is to show you that anybody can build a business with forever. There's nothing super special about me. I've just worked hard to get to where I am today. So I started my forever journey 4.5 years ago, and if I'm going the right way with the slides, that's my beautiful family. And they are my why. And I'm not going to look at the picture, actually, because I'm just filling up already. And they are my everything. They are what I get up for in the morning, and they're what I go to bed for at night. And they are what keep me going. Now, going back to when I left school, I didn't leave with any super qualifications. I got GCSEs, and they were okay. I was going to stay on, but I dropped out. So I dropped out of my A-levels. And I found myself going from one job to another. The one thing that my mum always instilled in me was to work hard. And I had 2 weeks of just lying in bed, and then she came in one morning and says, you get out and you don't come back until you get a job. So I actually went out and I spent the day searching for a job, and I got one, 3 bus rides away from our home for £28 a week as a YTS. It was rubbish, but I'd got a job. And from that day onwards, I've always worked. And I won't say I've had the easiest jobs, I won't say I've had the best jobs, but I've always worked. Breathe. So, where did that lead me? I got in a relationship from school, and I just thought that life was always going to be rosy. I got married, we had a house, and we was going to have a family. And all I ever wanted to be was a mom. Can I just tell you, I'm telling you this story not because I want sympathy. I want to inspire somebody enough to think, actually, yeah, if she can do it, I can. So don't give me sympathy. Right, so life was a little bit difficult when it came to us having a family. I could get pregnant, but I had trouble keeping the babies. So I actually lost my first baby through a miscarriage, and then my second baby I lost at 6 months. And that was the hardest part of my life. And then I was really fortunate to go on to have my beautiful daughter Alice, who's in the audience today, who I'm super proud of. And she's 21 in November. But once I'd got Alice, I felt like my life was complete. I didn't know what else there was out there. And I'd been with Alice's dad for a large number of years, and we'd kind of outgrown each other. He wasn't a bad man, but we'd just literally had drifted apart and outgrown each other with everything that we'd been through. So unfortunately that marriage ended, but that led me on to working evenings around Alice. She was 2 years old, and I worked as a HR manager, or worked my way up to being a HR manager for a major supermarket. I loved the job, I loved the training, the development and the recruiting of people, but the hours were antisocial. I used to have to work Christmases, I used to have to work late night shifts, early morning, and Alice was constantly having to be sent off to childcare. And it was just totally the opposite of that stay-at-home mum that I wanted to be, but I couldn't afford to be. So I took the opportunity, as soon as I was able to start my own business. That meant I could actually be there for her and build my business around her. So I started, first of all, in a little shop, my own little mini Clintons, and I absolutely adored that shop. It enabled me to be able to lock that door up and walk away to take her to school and go and fetch her at the end of school, and she used to sit behind the counter with me. Through my work, I actually then got involved in another relationship, which I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but it was a total disaster. But the best thing that came out of that relationship was my son, Joseph. I had actually lost another baby as well, just before having Joseph. So, all I ever wanted to do was be that mom, but I just found it so difficult. So when I had got my children, I just wanted to be with them all of the time and spend that time with them. So I decided to sell my shop and work from home. So I took my other side of my business, which was events planning and events decoration, because I could run that from home. And I did that successfully for 12 years. And I loved that job, or that business. It was a nice, happy environment to be in. But the work was seasonal, and so the income was capped and it was irregular. And so I was constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, and just, to be honest, running up loads and loads of debts on credit cards, loans and overdrafts. During my journey, and after my last rubbish marriage, I actually met Ian. Third time lucky, so he keeps telling me anyway. And from being with Ian, we've actually then went on to have another little girl, Maisie, who's just coming up to 5 years old. And Ian's also, as you can see in the picture there, Kieran, who's in between Alice and Joseph, who's 16 years old, and that's Ian's son from a previous marriage. So I have got a beautiful family, and I feel so proud of them and so blessed to be with them. And they are why I build my business and why I am so focused and won't let nobody take this opportunity away from me. And the reason I actually stress on that is when as I said, I run up a load of debt. I'd wanted to live a lifestyle and give those kids everything, but I couldn't actually afford it. And so I run up loads of debts on those credit cards, loans and overdrafts. And I was just struggling. I got this 4-month-old baby, or like a newborn baby in Maisie, and didn't know how on earth I was going to be able to continue living the way that we were. Ian was working 60-odd hours a week. He was hardly ever home. He had to work away an awful lot. And when he came home, Maisie hardly knew him. And I remember him saying to me one day, "She doesn't like me." She screamed every time I handed her over. And I said, "It's not that she doesn't like you, she doesn't know you." And, those were really tough times for us. Obviously, you can see there's a load of us, and we lived in a 3-bedroom semi. We were cramped. And, you just can't imagine life being any different. You just kind of accept your lot, and you don't think it's ever going to change. That was where we were. So 4.5 years ago, it was coming up to the end of October of 2011, and Christmas was looming. Got birthdays, we've got loads of birthdays at the end of the year as well. And it was like, where on earth is the money going to come from? I tried to apply for yet another credit card and got declined. Surprise, surprise. And I just broke down. I could not keep going on the way that we were. And at that point, as I always believe that forever comes into your life when you need it. And I strongly believe that with most people. And it was a chance conversation with my neighbour at the time, Faye Daly, and she basically was telling me about her business that she'd just started, which was enabling her to work around her son. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to have a look at it, because if I could just earn just £200 extra a month to help pay those minimum credit card bill payments, it's just going to make my life more comfortable. So I had a look. £200 panicked me because I hadn't really got it, but I'd got £200 left on my business overdraft. So I just bought it and thought about panicking later. Ian came home from work that night and there's a box there of products. And to say he was a little bit annoyed was an understatement, because there's me moaning we got no money and I've just spent £200 on a pack of products. But what I didn't do was I didn't give him the opportunity to see the business, because it was when Faye showed me the marketing plan that the business excited me. That was taking me back to my recruiting days, my training and my development days, and that's what really excited me. Did I want to talk to anybody? No. Did I want to sell any products to anybody or go to any trainings? No. But like Faye said, well, what are you going to do then? I got added onto some Facebook pages, and I suppose the intrigue in me actually inspired me to take that deeper look. I saw people excited and positive. I'd been so negative. I'd lived a life of negativity for probably about 10 years. After everything that I'd been through in my past, I'd let it really, really make me reach rock bottom. My confidence was just shot to pieces. But I was all suddenly seeing loads of happy, clappy people, and I actually quite liked it. There was all talking about this success day that they'd been to and how amazing it was. I thought, oh, I better go to one of them. It looks quite good. I'll go and have a little nose. And I came along to my first success day, and to say I was just blown away. Rabbit in headlights. Anybody feel like that if it's your first time? It's a bit like, wow, what have I come into? But it was that gave me the belief. It was that made me hear people's stories and think, you know what, if they can do it, then why can't I? And it was that made me go out there then and decide that nothing and nobody was going to take this opportunity of a great future for my children. Now, like I say, Ian wasn't too happy. We often say he was sceptical, but he tells me that's the wrong word. He wasn't sceptical because he hadn't even seen it, so he didn't even know what he was sceptical about. But what he was seeing me do was working lots of extra hours instead of sitting next to him on the sofa or falling asleep while we're watching a film. He saw me working hard, and initially probably not bringing in a huge amount of money. He didn't see the commission I was earning, that was going in my purse. He just saw my small bonus recaps, which initially were like 30 quid, 50 pounds, 70 pounds. And he was like, really, is it worth it? We were just talking about this earlier, and I said, well, so if I'm not going to call you sceptical, what shall I call you? And we said, so unsupportive. He wasn't supportive for 6 months. But then I actually think that's a bit harsh on him. He was supportive. He would do the babysitting for me when I wasn't there and I was at Success Days. But I think what it really was, it just caused a lot of problems, a lot of arguments. He just couldn't see that bigger picture. And it made me laugh hearing Paul's story yesterday when he said he'd gone along to a meeting and he refused to stand up when Bob walked into the room. That was exactly Ian. We'd gone to a training event, he was sat there like this, and I was like, Bob Parker, clap! And he's like, I'm not clapping, I don't know who Bob Parker is. By the end of that 3-day event, he was up there clapping with everybody. And that, he says, was his turning point in the business. And I could stand here and talk about amazing things that we've actually achieved within this business. We've ticked off practically everything, all the incentives that Forever have to offer. And it has totally, totally changed our lives. But last night, we was just asked quickly to share what achieving chairman's bonus has actually meant for us. Now, this is the part where if I cry, don't feel sorry for me. Basically, chairman's bonus we've achieved 3 years running now. And obviously the cheques have grown year on year, and it's absolutely been life-changing for us. Thank you. But what those cheques have done, they've enabled us to move house from that cramped 3-bedroom semi into an incredible 7-bedroomed house in the middle of the countryside. So Maisie hasn't got to go to school and tell her friends that she shares a bedroom with Mummy and Daddy, which was a dread of mine that she'd get bullied for. Also, we've been able to get debt-free. We're no longer in debt up to our eyeballs. We've actually got some savings in the bank now, which was something that we never ever thought we'd have. But it's the choices that all of this has given us. Obviously, we've got an incredible income, but the cheques, the income, everything wouldn't be possible without our incredible team. So I'm going to give a huge shout out to the Lifestyle Group. Woo! Without you guys, we wouldn't be stood here today. We wouldn't have been able to change our lives, and we wouldn't have had those choices and the time. Ian was able to sack his boss in his corporate role 3.5 years ago now. He works the business full time, and to be honest, he's probably more Forever through and through than even I am. So, anybody who has got somebody who's sceptical or being unsupportive or just doesn't get it, like you've heard already off other speakers, keep at it. Just ignore them. Just say, just watch me, just keep there. And you will get there, and you will get them on board with you along the way. So, I did it without crying too much. So, it takes me great pleasure now to actually move on and show you now how you can build an amazing Who Do You Know list. So, can I have a show of hands of who did a Who Do You Know list immediately as soon as they started the business? Fab. I can't put my hand up there. Or not a real one. I actually, like Faye told me, I need to write a Who Do You Know list, and I honestly believed I didn't know anyone. So I'm coming on to that shortly. But first of all, what is a Who Do You Know list and why do you need it? Well, it's your database. Every business needs a database, and yours is no different. You need to start somewhere. Your database or your Who Do You Know list is going to lead you on to the people that are going to join your team. It's going to lead you to your customers. It's going to lead you to referrals if it's not for the people that you speak to directly. But it's also going to lead you to people that say no, or a no, not now. But like you've heard already, the fortune is in the follow-up, and you just keep in touch with those people. Just because someone said no to you doesn't mean to say that you fall out with them or you never have to speak to them again. So like I said, my Who Do You Know list when I first started, first of all was non-existent, and then when I did write one, it consisted of 6 people. The 6 people who I thought would support me. How wrong was I? That's probably a little bit nasty. 2 out of 6 of them probably did, but the 4 of them didn't. And to be honest, they've gone on to leave our lives because they actually didn't like to see us becoming successful. But hey ho. At the end of the day, they weren't paying the bills and they weren't giving my children that future that I actually want for them. So, I got a list of 6 people, 2 who were okay, buying a few products, 4 had gone. What did I do? What was I going to do now? I needed a bigger list, and that's what I need to say to you guys. Your list needs to be huge. That's why it's been changed in the book now from a 100 plus list to that 300 to 1,000, if not more. You need to keep going and going and going, adding people to that list. But obviously I knew no one, so how was I going to keep doing that? I had to stop prejudging. And I think we're all so guilty of just assuming that something won't be for someone, that they've got loads of money, why would they want to work even harder and get something? You never know what's going on in someone's life. You might prejudge and think, you know what, they wouldn't be able to afford our products. What right have you got to make that assumption on anyone? If you actually prejudge and don't offer someone the opportunity, then you're taking away a chance of them being able to perhaps make a difference in their life, because you never know what's going on behind those closed doors. You need to let people know that this opportunity exists and realise that it's not your job to tell people that they need to join. It's your job just to let people know that our amazing products and our amazing business opportunity exists. And if they think it's for them, then great. If they don't, it's not a problem, but they know about it. You've planted a seed. They will come back to you when the time is right for them, like you've probably already heard in previous trainings. So you need to empty your brain. You need to think of anyone and everyone that's ever come into your life. So go through it stage by stage, step by step. Go right back to as far as you can remember. School days are probably, obviously, people can remember back further than others. But literally go through step by step who was in your life at each of those stages. Go back to school, college, uni, any workplaces you've ever belonged to, any clubs that you belong to, any clubs your kids have belonged to, any occasions that you've ever gone along to or you've hosted yourself, so weddings, christenings, funerals, any places you've ever lived. People around you, you're going to come across so many different people in your life, and there's going to be some people that actually you don't want to work with. There's certain people from my past, there's not a cat in hell's chance I want to work with or ever meet again. But if you actually think of them and write them on your list, so it's emptied your brain of that person, it will then trigger memories of other people that may have been associated with that person. And actually, they may have been okay, and they might be absolutely fantastic at this business, so write those people on your list as well. It's not a just who do you know list, it's a who do you know of list. So you haven't got to know these people really, really well. They haven't got to be your best friends. You just need to empty your brain of anybody and everybody, even if you've now lost contact with them. You need to think big. Forever is a UK and a global business. We're in over 150 countries. We're a business without boundaries. You haven't just got to think of your little village, street, town, county, wherever it is that you live. You haven't even just got to think of the UK. Think bigger. Now, when I actually was writing my list, obviously I knew no one, but I also didn't know anyone abroad. But people around me did. We get checks turn up, and to be honest, it's really bad, but I lose count of how many checks we get on a monthly basis now from probably about 7 or 8 different countries. And that's because people within our team have led us on to that, but also we've begun to make connections globally as well ourselves. And so you need to think bigger than just where you are. So you'll probably have more than one list. Yes, have your UK or your home country list, and also have either separate global lists for different countries or one big global list. Expanding your business globally will actually mean that you're opening your business to such large, massive networks, but larger networks that you would ever have imagined. And just think of the earning potential that will bring. It's just absolutely tenfold. So your existing contacts on your who do you know list, even if you don't know anyone globally, will lead you on to perhaps people that they know that are overseas. And also, the internet makes the world a very small place. So get on there and start making connections. You know, there's loads of different social media platforms where you can actually connect with people globally. So go on to different groups that you've got an interest in and actually pay an interest in other people. Become a really active member in something that you've got an interest in, and make friends and connect with those people. And over time, you will develop relationships that will lead you on to actually building an opportunity to perhaps offer them the business opportunity or the products. When you go on holiday, connect with people, talk with people. I used to be really bad at just sitting by the pool and not talking to anyone. But you know what? People aren't scary if you speak to them. Make friends, show an interest in them and their family or their children, and just ask and give them the opportunity to connect with you. You haven't even got to mention the business if you're not comfortable at that stage, or if they haven't given you that lead up to be able to. But connect with them so that you've got them for future reference to be able to stay friends with when you come back home, and just carry on building that relationship, and who knows where that will lead. Right, so what do you do with all these people? I'm giving you ideas of where you can get them from. You need to physically write them down. There's no point keeping loads of scrappy bits of paper, little receipts in the back of your purse. I've been there, I've done it myself, and then coming to find it and you can't, and you've thrown it away. And you know, I used to keep little bits of paper and write a name down, and then God knows what I did with it, and it's gone. You need to keep it all in one place. So you need to write it down, and in your first steps to manage your manual, pages 14 to 17, perfect place for you to do that. But there's not enough pages there. You need to print out as many as you can, loads and loads and loads, so that you can actually write down anybody and everybody that you think of. It keeps you nice and organised, and you're going to hear later methods of organising them so you don't lose all of your extra pieces of who do you know lists either. Why do you actually need to write them down? Well, it makes you think of each person that you write down in more detail. So when you come to profiling, which I'm going to be moving on to shortly, it makes you start thinking of them and why you think that the opportunity or the products might be perfect for them. It's also, from a universe point of view, you've heard people talk of The Secret and that, and I agree with Lisa. When I first watched it, I was like, what's this? But actually, the universe does work in mysterious ways, and so writing down the people that you may have lost contact with, it can actually bring them into your life. You know, you just never know who you're going to bump into when you go shopping. It could be a long-lost friend who you've wrote on your who do you know list, so get it down there, and it will bring them into your life. But it also makes space in your brain so that you can think of more people. So you haven't got to keep forgetting people, they're on your list. So we've made things a little bit easier for you. At the end of the day, like I said, I didn't know where to start, and this is exactly where you start. So use the memory jogger. That's on pages 18 to 19 of your book. And this is a great starting point right from the off-go. So basically, it goes through your family, your workplaces, friends, any people, personality traits, any people globally, and also gives you lots and lots of different professions to take a look into as well. So it really starts to open up your brain. And don't limit yourself. You'll be surprised when you go through this. You think, oh gosh, I forgot that person. Or who do I know who works in the police? That was the first one I looked at there. But you think of people, you pop them on your list. And don't miss anyone out. Right, so you need to expand, and obviously social media is an absolutely great tool. There's loads and loads of platforms, but the biggest tip I can give you here is just don't get consumed in it, because you can hide behind a computer screen. It's a comfortable place, and I've been guilty of that myself. But if you are going to use them, and if you use them effectively, they're an amazing tool for growing your list. So get really good and get really confident with and comfortable using just perhaps 2 or 3 platforms in total initially. And don't spend all day behind the computer on there. Literally set yourself times when you go on there and use it as a specific time slot of when you're actually going to work your social media. And you need to use it to connect with people. So not just to spam all the pages, or not to go around advertising join my team or buy my products. You actually want to actually talk with people and connect with people and show a genuine interest in them, and that's what you need to use social media platforms for. But as soon as you can possibly do it, get that conversation into the real world. Pick up the phone, ask them for their number, if they ask what you do, just say, tell you what, it's so much easier to tell you on the phone when you've got a quick 5 minutes for a chat. It's just so much more personable. Get in front of them in person. It's but you get a better response from them if they can see and hear your excitement and see it in your eyes. Right, now, downloading your Facebook friends list. Facebook, and the reason I expand on Facebook here is because it's the one that I'm comfortable with. I'm sure lots of you probably know how to do this, but I do get asked by lots of our team, even after I've taught it, can you go through that again? I really don't understand it, because Facebook don't actually make it clear how you can get your friends list. You've got loads of people on there, whether you've got a large list or a small list, but where do you find it without having to go through everybody? It's really, really time consuming. Also, I found that I was losing track of conversations I was having. So I'd got all my messages going on, and I'd have loads of other messages going on in between, and I'd lose who I'd already spoken to, so people slip through the net. And I learnt the hard way by losing team members to other people who had contacted their people off my friends list. So we got mutual friends. I lost them because I hadn't written them down. I hadn't given myself the opportunity to remember to contact them in the first place. So what I'm going to take you through now is how to download your Facebook friends list step by step. I do apologise for anybody who doesn't already know how to do it, but just bear with me, and hopefully it'll help you with training your team how to do it step by step as well. So first of all, you need to click on the once you've logged in, obviously, onto your profile. And you need to do this from a computer. There's no point doing it on a tablet or a phone. It really doesn't work, and you lose where it actually gets downloaded to. So you need to do it from a computer. So the first thing you do is go to the drop-down arrow at the top right-hand corner, and you just click on there. Second stage there then is to come down to Settings. So you click on Settings. Then you click on Download a copy of your Facebook data. Then click on Start My Archive. Am I going too fast for anybody? Sorry. I said to say I was going to flick through, sorry. Then enter your password. Hopefully you'll remember it. This clicker's not working. Then click on Start My Archive. Click on OK. You will then get emailed a link that you need to click on. It can take a while for you to receive that while everything's being compiled together and sent to you. But you will receive an email. So obviously check your main box, but if you can't find it, then go into your junk folder because it could well have gone in there. But it will contain a link that you need to click on. And when you actually click on that, it will open up your internet browser, and another pop-up box will come on saying, click on download archive. So you click on that. You'll then be prompted to enter your password again. And your file will download automatically onto your computer. Now I'm a Mac user, so it just downloads into my little downloads box. So from a Windows point of view, I'm not sure exactly where it goes, but there will be a downloads folder somewhere on your computer, and it will automatically download into there normally. Now, I get loads of people say, yeah, but then what do I do with it? How do I still find the list? It actually downloads the entire background of your Facebook profile, so all your photos and everything are in there. So you need to find your friends list. So it will look, obviously that's obviously on the Mac, but you'll have a folder called Facebook and probably your name. So you click on the downloaded folder on your computer. You then go onto the HTML folder and double click on there. You will then find friends.htm. See, it's really hidden. You click on friends.htm, and ta-da! Your friends list all opens up. And it depends obviously on how many friends you've got. You've got pages and pages and pages. You've even got people that perhaps you've blocked on there, or you've got pending friend requests and all sorts on there. It all opens up for you. But the big thing that you need to do, I used to think, well, that's all right, I've got my friends list now, I'll just work from that. It didn't mean anything. It used to just gather dust on my desk. What you need to do is physically write that list out manually. Why? Because it's going to keep them in your brain. It's going to give you something to work from. It's going to make sure you contact them and don't forget about them. Right, so we're also now going to look at other ways of expanding your list. So, you know, at the end of the day, you haven't got to sit there thinking, oh yeah, but I've done my list and I'm getting to the end of it now, so who am I going to contact next? You need to be constantly finding new ways of expanding your list. And we've got lots of different ways that we can help you to do that. I'm going to cover 3 acronyms today that's going to help you to do that. But what I want you to do, I want you to partake a little bit in this one and just do it with me. So get a blank sheet of paper in your books, and I want you to write down the acronym FROGS, F-R-O-G-S, and put the F-R-O-G-S down the left-hand side of your paper. And I want you to think of just anybody, randomly, any name that's on your Who Do You Know list currently. Or if you haven't got your Who Do You Know list currently, just any name that pops into your head of a person that you know. And then we're going to expand on it. So, who do you know who is also friends with that person? If they're not already in forever, do you actually know any of their friends? And so can you go perhaps onto their social media platforms if they haven't got their friends list hidden, which I would recommend you all do, guys. But if it's somebody who's not in forever, then go onto their friends list and just have a look, see whether you've got any mutual friends, or perhaps there might be some people who you used to know before who you'd forgotten about, and you'll suddenly remember them. I did that not so long ago with an old workplace that I used to work at. I went down this person's list. I was like, oh, I forgot that person. So it's a good way of just jogging your memory. Have you got anybody who's friends? So write down some extra names of anybody associated to that first person that you first wrote down. Write down any friends that you know of that person who's springing to mind now. Do you know any of that person's relatives? Obviously that speaks for itself, so do you know any of the sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, cousins? If you do, write their names down now. Do you know anyone who works in the same place as that person? So where do they work? Do you know anybody who works exactly in that same place? Or do you know anybody who works in that same profession? So obviously if they're a teacher, do you know anybody else who works in teaching? Pop down there, next to there, any names that just suddenly spring into mind. I am going through this fast because I'm already over time. G is for geography. So do you know anybody who lives in the same street, town, village, country as that person? Write them onto your list. And then finally, do you know anybody with the same name? So if it was, I don't know, Jane Jones, do you know anybody else who's got the same name, Jane? Or do you know anybody else who's got the same surname, Jones? So have you all got some extra names on your list there that you hadn't already? No? Yes, that person has. Great, contact, put them on your list. Right, the next one is STEAM. Stands for sales, teaching, enthusiastic, attitude, and money. So who do you know who works in sales? Now sales, there's loads. I'm just going to very quickly go over some here, but you can probably think of more. Advertising, events organisers, shop assistants, door-to-door salespeople, telesales, car sales, travel agents, mobile phone, gym memberships, banking staff, estate agents, insurance companies. Who do you know that works in teaching? So not just your class teachers, but lecturers, driving instructors, HR and training roles, swimming teachers, PTs, gym instructors, teaching assistants, dinner ladies, the list goes on. You can probably think of more yourself. Who do you know that's enthusiastic, bubbly, eager, keen, warm, passionate, lively, life and soul of the party, committed, devoted? Anybody who's got those personal qualities that you would love in your team? Who do you know that's got a great attitude? That glass is half full attitude. You want positive people in your team, but also you're going to have probably people with bad attitudes around you. Now, we don't necessarily want people with bad attitudes in your team, but why have they got a bad attitude? Find out, because it could well be that with your help, they could actually change that, because they just need an opportunity to be able to make that difference. And who do you know that likes money? Most people. But who likes the finer things in life? Going on holidays? Who's incentive driven? Who needs some extra money? So it's another way of being able to sit down and really go through and get you thinking. And then finally, another way of expanding is friends. So F for friends, you need to explore your phone books, your mobile phone books, any old address books. I've got old address books going back years. Get them out. There's probably people in there that you've forgot about. Any email contacts, so go through any email platforms that you've got and write down all of your contacts. R is for records. We all keep records, so customer files, any business cards, previous employment that you've been involved in. You might have picked up some general records from there. Get everything written down, so don't throw anything away, just go through everything. Any industries, the I is for industries that you've ever been involved in, and you need to look at the types of businesses that you would like to work with. So if there's a particular business type, go through your yellow pages or places like that to actually find the types of businesses that you want to work with, and they've perhaps got complementary services to our amazing product range. E-marketing. So use the websites and different social media platforms. I don't need to go into more detail on that. We've already covered that really. Networking. Network with a purpose. Go to networking groups. People who go to networking groups are usually there because they actually want to earn more money themselves. They want to promote their services. So they're looking for an income. Get to know them, help them promote their services as well, but you get an opportunity to share yours. Directory. Use your telephone directory, yellow pages, any magazines, and then look through, and people advertise in these places. So write down their names and numbers, contact them, and ask them whether you can do business together. Ask them whether you can go and just share your opportunity so they know more about what you do, and ask them if you can actually do the same for them. It's building those relationships that will actually bring your businesses closer together. And obviously they're business owners, so they may be interested in an additional income stream as well. And again, as it mentions there, same name, so going over your list or as it's expanding to keep growing it. So profiling. You've got this list of names, but now what do you do with them? You need to actually know how you're going to contact them. So you need to be able to write down everything that you know about everybody on your list and find their hot buttons. Everyone's got a challenge somewhere in their life, and everybody will have a hot button, and that hot button will be their why. So there's a few examples on the screen here. You know, this person here has got no quality time with her children. She wants to reduce her working hours. That's the objection. So when you call, that's what you're going to be going through. But I'm not going to cover that. You're going to hear shortly on how to contact people. And any notes there in the bottom, if you have had a previous conversations, you can pop that down so when you have the conversation, it prompts you and reminds you. Again, another example. This person likes going out a lot and going on holidays. An additional income stream would be really, really good for them. And you know they're going on holiday in October. So that's straight away how you can actually go in with the business opportunity and that additional income stream for them. And then this person, from a product's point of view, you know that his daughter's got a skin condition, so you can go in with the products. But also, she's on maternity leave, so don't forget to mention that, or ask really what her plans are when she actually comes back after maternity. And that just leaves me on to my final slide, everyone. And just remember that strangers are just friends that you haven't actually met yet. Everyone in the world out there is the potential friend for you. And just by making 2 new friends a day, it will give you 730 new friends a year. So there's absolutely no reason for your list to ever run dry. Do you think Jane Leach thinks, what am I going to do? My list, I've contacted everybody on my list. No, she just goes out and makes more friends all of the time. And that's exactly what you guys need to do. I hope that's been some help to you. And carry on enjoying your absolutely amazing weekend. Thank you. This is my